So the Holy Land, the land of Israel, known as the cradle of the monotheistic religions, has also turned into the cradle of fake news. Hi, I'm Daniel Seaman, and you're watching Straight Up on JNS TV. On October 7th, 2023, there were no videos of Arab suffering. There were no news items about atrocities happening in Gaza. What was happening on that day were the Arabs themselves were sharing footage of their atrocities and things they were doing to the Israelis and to the Jews here in the state of Israel. They were celebrating all of it. But this has always been the case. Since Israel withdrew from the Gaza Strip, in almost 20 years, there were 17 different rounds with the Hamas in Gaza. And every time it starts with them attacking Israel, but then very quickly, when Israel responds and when Israel retaliates, suddenly, when they're losing, they knew they could turn to the international community and the international media and start posting all these terrible things happening to them because they knew that they could very quickly limit Israel's ability to do what is necessary and what any country in the world, meaning they could commit atrocities, and this would be, I don't know, expected. And then very quickly, when Israel would retaliate, the Arabs who would be losing at that point would turn around and start projecting these made up, as we may call them, miraculous images. Why do I call them miraculous? Because, as I mentioned before, suddenly you have resurrections, not by one individual, but by several. In the recent war with the Gaza Strip, we've seen these miracles happening with atrocities occurring against Gazans. When you look closely, suddenly you see that these are the same persons popping up in different instances. Some of these examples that we've seen is one is called Mr. Faithful. This person, shown in several, as you can see here, is shown in several instances supposedly being assaulted by Israeli attacks. There's this other image of this person here, showing his baby sitting on the rubble and showing his baby being killed. And the baby itself, sometimes it's a doll, other times it's alive. Why do we know that? Because the child moves his feet while the person supposedly is lamenting his baby who was killed by the evil Israelis. There's also the young girl who was saved from the rubble of an Israeli attack, not once, not twice, but 3 times. And then there's these images that are being shared internationally, supposedly of hunger, etc., that when people look into it very quickly, something the media doesn't do, you discover that these are images out of Yemen or Iran or other places around the world and has nothing to do with Israel at all. And just this week, you had another atrocity supposedly committed by the Israelis. A family of 9 people, 9 children were killed by Israel. Now, I sound sarcastic about it.